I
Wait,
think
you're talking about the killer?
spoilers.
Moose shit.
Welcome to Moose Shit, where we spout bullshit. My name is Moose, and I'm joined by my conniving co-conspirators, Kumanal. How are you guys doing today? Is usually what I'd be asking around this time, but I just don't have the time today because we have a lot to get to. So, as you guys can see by the title of this episode, we're going to be covering You, specifically You Season 4, Part 1, that has just been recently released. Now, just to catch everyone up, just to make sure that we're on the same page, I'm just going to be providing a brief synopsis of the series. So, in general,
Wait,
in You,
you're gonna do all this and not even ask me how my day was?
I have
We
shit to
don't
get to. Shut
care.
the
We
fuck
don't
up,
care.
bro.
We don't care.
Well, my day was great. So.
Great, glad. Basically, so Joe is an average guy, average Joe, you could say. He's a guy who likes to read, likes to keep track of his books. He's a bookkeeper in New York, basically, or a bookkeeper
Oh
from
my
New York.
god, you're going from the beginning
I have to give the
Damn.
synopsis.
Oh my god.
of the whole thing.
No, bro, nobody's gonna click on this without knowing you.
It's possible.
No, it's
Okay.
not.
Long story short, Joe is a bookkeeper and he's obsessed over women. Okay. In season 1, we follow Beck. They fall in love. The entire season follows their love story as Joe kills off people that he feels are threats to Beck, and then eventually, when Beck finds out, he kills Beck. Season 2 follows his relationship with a person, Love Quinn, owner of an Avrin, very rich, up in socialite in L.A., where he moved. That storyline basically follows the same beats as season 1. However, in the end, it is revealed that Love Quinn is actually a killer as well, and she's been killing off people that she feels are a threat to Joe. In season 3, they are now married and are raising a child, and Joe has to basically deal with the ramifications of being married to a crazy person. And by the end of season 3, Joe kills off Love, burns her basically alive, cuts off his toes to fake his own death, gives his child away to a couple that he knows, and moves to France in search of a woman that he met while still married with Love, and who he grew very attached to, named Marion. Marion the librarian. Al, do you want to explain Marion? Because honestly, it's a character that I don't really have that much interest in, but I know you like.
It's not Marion, it's Marianne first. She's just the librarian. She's one of those like quiet, shy girls that seems like nice on the outside, but she actually has a lot of baggage. She has ex-husband that is abusive and a daughter that she has to take care of, and I believe Joe kills the ex-husband.
Yes.
Joe kills the ex-husband, and then he never tells Marianne because Joe does it out of like his lust for her. And then Love tells Marianne that Joe killed her ex-husband, and she doesn't believe it at first, but eventually she does. So she flies all the way to Paris to get away from Joe. And Joe, at the very end of season 3, says, "No, fuck that. I'm gonna go chase her." So he takes a flight to Paris after faking his death with Love.
Okay, and then that brings us to season 4. Season 4 takes place a couple of it's some time after season 3, as noted by Joe's now new look with his beard and long hair. So first off, I just want to start off with, what's your guys' first impressions in one word? What's your impression of season 4?
Tuesday.
What?
Tuesday?
Oh, Tuesday.
No,
Tuesday, isn't
honestly,
it?
stop, Alex. You ruined my joke because you just started acting like an idiot. Honestly, the one word that I would say that I could describe it with would probably be
Different.
ah.
Mine is disappointed.
really picked your brain for that one, Alex. Different. That was a tough one.
Different. Yeah.
I would go with intriguing, honestly. I would say I'm intrigued by the season. Moose, I could see why you would say, is this where are we actually gonna go into it now, or are we just still at one word?
Not yet. We're gonna stay spoiler free for the time being. But my word is disappointed.
Man.
And that's just because in general there were a lot of stuff leading up to season 4. A lot of loose threads. Season 3 had a great villain in the form of Love, and I thought they had a lot of potential. And I feel like all that potential was wasted in the end. Like I liked season 4 up until the very end, where I felt like they just dropped the ball. And let me just say, we're only going to be reviewing part 1. I know part 2 is going to be coming out soon, like in about 2 to 3 weeks. We're not going to be covering part 2 right now, obviously. We'll cover part 2 eventually, but at this time, I'm just speaking about part 1, in which I'll say it's very disappointing in how they just left off, basically. I was intrigued up until the very end.
Okay. So let's get into it.
Yeah. I mean, what I liked about it, like without getting into spoilers like that, the one thing that I didn't really like is like I felt like the character development was kind of bad compared to what it's been. Like they have done a great job of like developing like characters that like you actually care about.
Mm,
Mostly like
that is a big
Joe,
thing.
Love, like all the like main characters, and even like side characters like 40 from like season 2. They developed him really well,
Mm,
and like Ellie and Delilah them in season 2. Season 1, Peach and like even the other. But like I feel like this season there's like a bigger group, and they didn't get into like half of the characters. So like, but they're there during important moments, so it just feels kind of weird. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
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 So
I
they're
agree.
in such big parts.
I'll give the setup for season 4, because I guess that's not technically spoilers. So basically, Joe is now in England, and we'll tell you later as to why he's in England. But now he's in England as a professor, and he saved the life of a socialite within England. That socialite's boyfriend said, "Okay, now you're going to join our social club." In that social club are the worst side characters I have ever met. I don't care about any single one of them. I actually actively want every single one of them to die, except for like a handful, like two. Two of them I don't want to die, and then everyone else can go suck it. I hate every single one of them.
Wow.
And I get that the point is supposed to be that you're supposed to hate them, but anyways, these socialites start getting killed off, and Joe is trying to find the killer. Basically, imagine Dexter, a criminal using his own experience in criminality to find another criminal. Um, and it's fine, but like again, as I was saying, I don't care about the people that they're killing, and I don't get why Joe cares necessarily. Joe has said actively multiple times throughout the series that if he wasn't looking for the killer, he would probably kill every single one, every single one of them. So I'm not interested in the stakes that are there. You know what I mean?
I mean, I
I
think it's kind of like broad picture type of thing. Like the reason that it's a little bit more interesting, in my opinion, is because of the fact that like this whole time, even though Love was kind of like that, like sneaky type of like you didn't know anything like that she was like that for that whole season, but in reality she was. Like this is the first time that you genuinely see Joe as like the victim, like the genuine victim, because
mhm.
they've always portrayed him as kind of like a how the fuck do you
Anti-hero.
say it? Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. And the thing is, everybody kind of appealed with this character because it's told from his perspective and shit. But
Yeah.
they've never actually like explored him as like from the victim mentality to begin with. So this
Yeah.
one is kind of like exploring that. So that's why I don't love it, but I also want to see where they go with it because I don't want to just write it off right away.
Yeah. So for me, this series sort of felt it's just different than all the other ones. With all the other ones, that there's some love interest that he's interested in, someone that he's killing, and always to protect the girl. Um, Now, on one hand, if they just did that sort of formula again, it would be consistent, but it also just might be boring. If they had it where he was trying to chase Marianne and he's like protecting her by killing people, it's sort of like the same formula. But on the other hand, the way that they took it was like almost like it's another TV show entirely. I mean, it's there's really not much that ties the other seasons to this season besides Marianne and Joe's personality of being a killer. Like it's so almost like you're watching an entire different show, which it's a good show, but it's sort of taken away
I think
from.
no,
See,
they're kind of just like trying to flip it on its head. Like it's literally it's not.
Yeah, like I
It's
think
like
it could have
predator.
ended with season
It's
three.
predator becomes prey now
yeah,
because
I
this.
understand
Yeah,
that, but like
I don't
season
know. I can't
three
say that they're
played with me.
executing it well so far because they haven't finished it. But from what
Yeah.
I've seen from it so far, I can understand how you'd be disappointed because it's like I get what Moose is saying is such a fact. Like when you play like those video games and there's those shitty it's they're like stormtroopers from Star Wars, bro. It's like nobody cares if they die. That's how I feel about all the characters, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in a single one. Literally
I
none of
like
them.
Phoebe though. I like Lady Phoebe though.
Yeah,
Lady Phoebe's nice.
she's good. The other dude, the two, like fuck it, I don't remember their fucking names.
The two
There was
blonde guys, the two blonde people, Lady Phoebe and her boyfriend.
her boyfriend, and then who was the other dude?
Piss play, Mr. Piss play.
Ah, yeah, that guy. Yeah, but the
Oh,
other dude was the one that like outed him in front of everybody.
oh, that guy.
I don't remember his name. Can't
I
remember
don't
his
remember his name either. But that's also bad because he literally only got play in the show for like the last episode or two. I
Wait,
think
you're
the
talking
last
about the killer?
spoilers. We're
Thank
not there
you,
yet.
Alex.
Oh, sorry.
I'll cut it out. But no,
Classic
so we're
Alex.
Who are you talking about?
we're talking about the guy who basically said, "Joe, you're the killer," when he wasn't.
Yeah,
one who
the guy
hated-
that
The guy that was
and, like
chasing.
was chasing him.
Yes, yeah.
he's interesting, but like
It's just like a web of like, but I don't. It's hard for me to get interested because like I think the way they did it right. So in season one, you're introduced to him, and then you're introduced to Beck. So this is obviously it's the first season, so it's just the start that you're watching. So you don't mind getting introduced to new characters and stuff. And then in season two, he moves, but his old life is so connected to him, so you still feel the exact same way. Like there's still stuff tethering each season to each other, right? And I think that's what Alex's point was that I kind of agree with, that the tethers between the like seasons are so loose right now. So that's why I'm just trying to look at it from like the concept side of what they're trying to do to try to enjoy it, because that's why I say intriguing, like
Mm-hmm.
because it's hard because even season 3 they had the strong tether of love, and then like from 1 to 2 there was like Candace, him changing his whole personality, all that, and then from 3 to 4 you have literally him, and then
and that's it. There's no one else.
yeah, even she was in like the first episode, and now like she's not gonna be a relevant character like that. Like,
Yeah.
So, how would you guys rank the season so far? Because here's my ranking. It's season 3 is the best. After that is season 1, 2, and then 4.
I agree with that actually. But it's like they're all so good that yeah, this season is season 4, but it doesn't mean that it's really shit. It's still good. It's just all the
I
other
don't know.
seasons have still been so good.
It's boring, like
I don't agree.
so
I-
for those okay. So
Or what-
season
who's
4
ranking?
follows. Oh yeah, sorry, Coop, you go, and I'll.
I think I agree, but I think I put a pretty like distinguishable gap between 1 and 2. So like
Yeah.
3-1 are higher up for me. I think those two are really fucking good. Like season 1, there was the first introduction of the concept, really fucking good. And then season 3, they did that I think as good as they could have. Honestly, that was a fucking great season. And then 2 is kind of like it's good. It is good, but like compared to the other two, I just don't think it holds up. And then 4, I'm just confused by, not confused by, but like I need to see the ending to find like the direction and judge it on its totality. But from what I've seen, it hasn't been great so far.
Yeah. So here's the deal. Season 4 is a who done it, right? It's a who done it. But
Hmm.
like they don't do anything with that. They don't do anything out of the ordinary. Like You was originally a show that sort of took tropes and genres and flipped them on their head, tried to show you a different angle or a different point of view. But this story of a criminal using his ability, how he commits crimes to find other criminals, has been done before. So it's not anything interesting
Yeah,
or new that we're seeing.
it's funny because even in the show, they were like, "Oh, who done it? That's just the most basic form of literature," and it's always the first suspect, or what did they say? The first
The first suspect is always
the first
is
one
the
dead,
second victim. Yeah.
second one dead. Yeah, they even admitted that it's so basic. So I'm not sure why they're taking this route. It's still interesting. It's like you said, it's been done before.
Yeah, and but then you have the second thing with, oh, the predator now becomes the prey, but that thing that was done in season 3 already. So now you're just left to compare season three's predator becomes a prey to
I don't
season
think
four's
Yeah,
I
predator.
don't
but
think
he knew the
no I
predator
don't
in season
I
3.
don't think Predator Prey really goes like I think they're really leaning into that this season. I don't think season 3 was the goal or what they set out to do. It might seem that way, but I think season 3, like the angle they were going for in that was like Joe was fucking baffled obviously at the end of season 2. And then at season 3, like he realizes like it's like slowly and slowly building to that, but they don't really like that wasn't the central theme. It was like living with the demon, like that. How do you say it? Because in his mind, she is like completely horrible, but in reality, she's doing the same thing he's doing, just with less reasoning, like type of
Yeah,
thing. So
Yes.
I like that through line. I like the fact that even regardless, still doesn't have that self-awareness really. Joe
yeah,
still says, "Oh my god, my wife is a bitch," but he doesn't realize that that's the same shit he did to Beck, and that's the same shit that he did to Love before he found out that he was a killer. She was a killer.
yeah. So I mean, like it's a tough one. I'm not like writing it off yet, obviously, because like it's just getting like we've 5 episodes. Obviously, it could get better.
Yeah.
I just
And did you
I don't
watch
know about
the
the whole
trailer,
direction.
bro? I guess we'll get into the trailer
I will
soon.
get
But
into that. Yeah.
they released a
Oh,
But
trailer for
just
season
part
2
2.
just for the
trailer. I didn't watch that.
Wild. All right,
okay,
but we'll
but
do that later.
just for
All right.
just for part 1, what's your numerical score? Mine is a 5.
I would give it a 6.
6.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so that's it. So
Now,
now we're gonna get into spoilers. Okay, you
okay.
guys have 5 seconds
I,
to leave. 5, 4, 3,
I
2, 1. Can you believe Joe took a shit in his hand and then rubbed it on the body and was like, "Oh, now I'm the shitty killer." Okay, I think everyone's gone
what?
now. It was
Oh,
a joke because it was a fake spoiler. Now you can get into spoilers, Al, since you're foaming out the mouth right now. Go right ahead.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, and I already told Moose this, but I'm going to say it again. So, Marianne, at the end of season 3, she went to France, right? And he went over to France. I feel like with this season, they looked at that cliffhanger that they left. They probably didn't have any plans for that cliffhanger. Didn't even know they were getting renewed for part 4. or season 4. So they were just like, shit, how do we take it from here with Marianne and Joe? Well, if we if we have it take place in Paris, we're gonna have to have everyone speaking French. How are we gonna make that digestible to our American markets? Let's just go to London and let's just put a quick reasoning of why we're going to London. Just say, oh yeah, Marianne, she was painting and went to London. Fuck the whole Paris idea. Sure. So now we're in London. 2, Marianne. Well, we don't really want to follow the same formula of Joe protecting Marianne all the time. So let's just scratch her off. Let's just go with the whodunit. Fuck Marianne. Let's just put a quick scene in Joe finding Marianne and him leaving, and fuck Marianne. The whole point of the season 3 cliffhanger was that it's Marianne and Paris. It had nothing to do with the new season. Like, I was looking forward to how they were going to implement that, and they just basically wrote it off completely and went in a whole new direction.
Is that what you think?
Yes.
Is that a theory?
Well, so my theory was that Marianne was the killer. I was like, this is how they're going to wrap Marianne into all of it. I don't know how, but that Marianne was actually the one texting Joe, and that it would have been a whole circle back thing. But it never happened. So I'm just a little upset that Marianne is so uninvolved in this season, because I kind of liked her.
I'm sort of indifferent to the character, as I said, like at the top of this episode. So I'm not as hurt about the fact that they just wrote off Marianne. But I would like to say, this is a show that doesn't like shy away from its political commentary, right? So they like to get political, and they obviously are left leaning. And this is the second time where Joe's African American love interest, not African American, black love interest, just is written off and is used as like filler, just so that Joe can get onto another white woman to fawn over. It happened in season 1, and then this is the second time with Marianne.
Why did you have to go this route?
No.
I'm just pointing it out. We don't have to talk about it. I'm just pointing it out.
I just don't think that has any. I don't know if there's any weight to that, man.
What do you mean weight to it? I'm not saying that they're purposefully doing it. I'm just saying, for a show that's supposed to be politically woke, they're not really doing something that's woke.
I mean, but that's just you saying it's politically woke. How do you know that's the goal of it?
Bro, the point of the entire season 4 is that the killer is killing rich people, and he's called Eat the Rich Killer, which is a clear like calling sign for a lot of progressive Democrats within the United States. And like it's about social class and class warfare. Like I'm not reaching for any of this. That's just what they are presenting.
All right, well, it's just an observation then, Moose. I have no comments.
Anyways, Reese is the killer. And I don't care. I really don't care. I was thinking Phoebe was going to be the killer, so that they can sort of do the love storyline again, where Joe's killer is someone who's obsessed with him. But this time, Joe literally has no idea. Like with Love, he was in a relationship, but with Phoebe, he couldn't have known at all, right? Mm-hmm. And so Phoebe's obsessed, and then she ends up being the killer. But it ends up being Reese, a guy we see for like maybe 5 minutes before we find out he's the killer.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really tie it, like, why exactly he's the killer. At least I don't remember. He's the author, right?
He was the one guy that literally Joe said it. He's like, this is like the one person that actually I like resonated with, because he was like the only guy that was there that wasn't like he wasn't like they eat the rich shit. Yeah, he was like, he wasn't that. So that's why Joe was like, actually, like, he actually viewed him as a friend.
Yeah, Joe. Yeah, no. The reason Reese kills, the reason that they gave, is, I'm the Eat the Rich Killer. I like to kill rich people who don't deserve their wealth. That's why he's targeting the socialites, because they're all pricks who don't deserve the money and the fame and all that they have and stuff like that. But like, it has nothing to do with Joe. Like Joe has zero involvement in that. And
Yeah,
I feel
well, he
like
makes it
that's
known. Joe was like lying to him on the phone about how he actually liked to kill when he didn't, or how his cock got hard when he killed and he didn't. So he's only pretending with Reese. He's not
no.
actually.
But like my point is that Reese's motivations as like a villain have zero correlation with Joe's involvement one way or another. Like Joe doesn't really have a role in the story, you know?
Yeah, I get what
Yeah,
you're
like
saying.
Joe is just the person he
Like
wants to be, but
I
not.
don't want to say
no,
innocent bystander, but that's what it feels like.
Joe is like
Yeah,
a guy on a roller coaster just going for the ride. Meanwhile, in like season 1, 2, and 3, he was like an active player that was progressing the plot himself.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, can we get into Kate? Because honestly, I don't know why Joe likes her so much. Because Kate has been rude to him since the very day that she met him. Like, I get it's like a whole sassy attitude thing with her, but I don't know what he sees in that. She's always annoying and fucking rude. And why was I? Maybe I was missing part of the plot line, but why was he so hell bent on protecting her, like going everywhere that she goes? Like, I don't think it was that implied that the Eat the Rich Killer was gonna kill Kate next,
Like, did you like not watch this at all?
huh?
Like, he literally said, like the whole episode, that episode, the Eat the Rich Killer was texting him saying, "I want you to kill Kate,"
Okay,
and
well,
then he acknowledged, "Oh, you're protecting her." So then that's when Joe was like, he's gonna try
he
to kill
said,
her.
yeah, and then Joe said, Kate won't be a problem.
Yeah, so that's why he was watching her before that, like
Because he knew that
when
Okay.
Kate was a target. But
yeah.
Well,
that
even
also does
then,
not.
fuck Kate, let her die. She sucks.
No, I think Joe likes her because she's the only person at. Because first of all, he thought that Kate is like probably the lowest out of all of them, which she ended up not being. But like
It's actually the
least rich out
highest.
of all.
The poor, yeah, she's the
Yeah,
racist.
yeah. But he thought that she was the poorest, and she's the one who didn't belong. And she's the only one who really works in that group. So that's why he was interested in in Kate. But like also that's also gives also reason as to why is Reese so hell bent on killing Kate. That doesn't make sense. He said that none of these rich people deserve it. By all means, Phoebe and Kate, at least the two richest in the group, are also the kindest in the group. Like, you could say they may have not earned their money, but neither did Reese. He was born into his cash.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was. He
No, he
started
wasn't.
off poor. Yeah, he was. He started off poor, but then it was revealed that his dad,
Oh yeah,
a prince.
he was. Yeah.
He didn't work for his cash. It would have been cool if he did actually work for his cash, and then he was jealous at all of them because they didn't have to work as hard. But that's not the case in this. Like, I don't find Reese an interesting character. I don't get his motivation. I There's a reason I didn't think of Reese when they were talking about who could be the killers, because it didn't make sense for him to be the killer.
It's
Like,
just tough
you
because like
swerved it.
we didn't know much about Reese because everything that we know about him has been through this chat that he purposely tries to remain anonymous on. So we didn't really get in depth into who he is because the whole point of the app is to stay as anonymous as possible. So that's why it's probably underwhelming for you.
This was another reason why I thought it was Phoebe, because all of the invitations that Joe was getting to all these events where where the killer would have means to kill, it was when um it was when Phoebe was inviting them, right? So that it would make sense why the killer would invite Joe, because she wants to keep the Joe close by because she's obsessed with Joe. Reese It didn't make sense. How did Reese even know where they were going?
I guess
Well,
the
he's
point
part of
is
the
that
group. So
like Reese was just stalking him because at one point, when Joe was like fucking Kate in the garden in the grass outside or whatever.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And then somehow Reese found out, like, or whoever the killer was, which was we found out is Reese, found out like, oh, that's what you call protecting or something like that. But then we at the same time that bodyguard also saw. So I thought that was sort of cheap to show that bodyguard seeing Joe fucking, then have the Eat the Rich killer also say that to Joe, and then not have it not be the bodyguard. You know what I
No,
mean?
but that's what I was gonna say. That's why also that gives me reason as to why it was Phoebe, because that was Phoebe's bodyguard. So the bodyguard could have reported it back to Phoebe, and then she could have texted him that. But then it wasn't him. It wasn't
Mm.
her. Everything was pointing to Phoebe. Everything.
Uh, I guess it would have been cool when Phoebe came into the room when she was sitting on the box with the body in it. She couldn't. The reason she could have been going to the room is to like find out where the body
If they
is.
know about the body, yeah.
That would. I guess that would have been pretty cool.
And then like it would have been cool, like every time she felt insecure about her relationship with Piss Play McGee, that's when she decided to kill. God, I fucking hated that scene. Oh my god. Ah. mm, oh my
The
god.
piss play
Fuck.
season. Which
Oh my
one?
god. Please. All of them. I hated her when he was getting it from the waiter. I hated her when Phoebe was about to start doing it. I was like, please don't show this. Please, for the love of God, don't show this.
Listen,
You
man.
do that, Al?
Are
Do you
you
do that? Please tell me
what?
that's where you draw the line, right?
Oh my god. No, I do not do piss play. And even if I
God.
did, I would hide it from you.
Oh my god. Oh
Oh,
my
you
god.
never know. Maybe I do, Moose. Maybe I like
Stop.
piss in my mouth.
Stop. 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 Oh my god, stop. Please stop.
Why do you get so squeamish, man? Anyways, what else? Malcolm, he was a piece of shit.
I forgot he was even a person in the show.
Yeah, his whole personality is being a piece of shit. He has nothing redeeming.
That's
Apparently,
true about every side character though. All of them are just I'm a piece of shit. Like in the past, they weren't caricatures. They weren't cartoonish. You could understand that this could be a person that exists in real life. With all these, I can't believe for a single second that a person like any of these would exist in real life.
yeah. I mean, I think it's like you said, trying to show a bigger political point.
Like when Benji was killed, Benji showed remorse for the person that he killed in that first season. So like, yeah, Benji was a piece of shit, but you still sort of felt bad when he died. Best death in the series when they killed when Love killed one of their neighbors because he basically gave the kids, what was it? It wasn't mono. What was the disease?
measles,
Some
right?
measles.
Oh,
Yes, when
measles,
he
yeah.
gave the kids measles, and then he hung himself when he found out
Yes.
that his son was still doing stuff to women non-consensually.
Uh-huh.
That was a great death because you felt really bad for the guy. I don't feel
Yeah.
bad for any of them.
I think that's
I'm
part of
like,
the point.
okay, great. The
They
plot
don't
gets to
want you to feel
progress.
bad.
Huh?
They don't want you to feel bad.
Yeah.
Like
But
they
if I
don't. They
don't,
don't want.
but if I don't feel bad, I don't care about the episode. I
Yeah,
don't care
I
about
think
the show.
that's just something they gotta figure out with the rest of the thing. Like that's why I'm not ready to just fucking sit here and write it off because I haven't seen the full thing, obviously. But I mean, like, it's hard to say because yeah, obviously there's like certain stuff we haven't seen, but I trust like the people that made the show. I'm sure they have a fucking plan.
Yeah. Oh, what did you guys think of Nadia? What do you think her role is going to be? Because doesn't really, she's not really part of the main plot, which is trying to find the killer. She's the girl that slept with the professor and is helping Joe write his book, almost like narrating it.
See, it's so disjointed. Like they know what all the plot elements that they need from the past seasons to make this season a U season technically. They need Joe to kill someone, they need Joe to be obsessed with someone, they need Joe to hang out with some younger kid and like just show them the ropes and stuff like that. But like Nadia doesn't play a role in the show. Like the entire time, like I thought the ethos of the show, like the theme that they're trying to show, is that Joe is a corrupting force. Joe corrupts people. He corrupts yeah, the innocent, and that's why he's a bad guy who should ultimately you should root against, even if he is so charming that you want to root for him. But like this season doesn't play to that theme anymore. Nadia is not necessarily an innocent, and she's not someone who necessarily needs help. She's her own character who doesn't play a role in any of the events that are happening in the show. There's
Yes,
not any.
that's what I'm saying. Do you think she's gonna play a role, or you think she's just gonna stay side character, just as a random side plot?
So what they showed in the season in the part 2 trailer is that
Well,
she
okay.
just
Well,
ran.
let Coop watch that first.
I just finished
Watching?
watching it. And it was
Wild, right?
I feel like it. I
Hi,
fucking
Joe.
pulled that off.
Okay. So when I first watched it, I thought, okay, Love's not really alive, right?
That's
Then-
my first assumption.
But now I'm thinking maybe she is alive. Because remember, the assignment that Joe gave at like the beginning of the season was a telltale heart. And in that story, a guy kills someone, buries him under the floorboard, and then he thinks the entire time that that person is still alive and he didn't actually kill them. He hears his heartbeat, he sees his eyes are still there, and police are in the building, and he's just hoping that the guy who he thinks is still alive doesn't crawl out of the wall and say, hey, he tried to kill me. And then the song, because there's always something there to remind me, how can I forget you, girl? I think Love is still alive.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure, and maybe I'm mistaken. At the end of season 3, when uh after the dinner scene, after Love presumably died, wasn't there like some sort of body being dragged out or something? Or did they just not show anything? And plus, why would they close the case without any bodies?
I
Because-
honestly don't remember. Well, the whole house burned down, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
whole
the
house
house
burned
burned
down, and there were multiple newspaper stories about how it was like a murder suicide between the two because they found Joe's toe, and then presumably they found her.
I mean,
Otherwise, why would they make that assumption?
I mean, it could be that the house, because when something burns, it usually collapses because the foundation is burning, right? So it could be that the house, because we didn't see the aftermath of what happened. We just saw Joe walk away from the crime scene.
So, but why would they put in the papers that it's a murder suicide with the wife, with Love? There's no shot that she's real. I think people would actually be really angry if they found out that Love is alive.
Why? I like Love. I think Love is the best character that you has ever produced.
I mean, I agree, but it would just be like, it's almost like, oh, it was all a dream. Love didn't actually die. It was all part of Joe's imagination. That she was ever there.
Isn't that what the comment section is already saying on that trailer though? Oh, Joe made up everything in season 4 and he's actually the killer, which is a shitty theory.
So, and I was reading in that comment section, most people believe that Love is just part of his imagination, but maybe they're going to throw a curveball. And then 2, some people believe that Reese is part of Joe's imagination, and that Reese is just symbolic of Joe's continuous desire to kill, that it never went away, and he's just Joe's just trying to place it on someone else in his mind.
Joe doesn't have a desire to kill though. He has a desire to be loved, which forces him to kill because that fight and flight responses are so high, so sensitive in his mind that it just triggers pretty
Yeah.
fast. But he
No,
has no
I agree.
desire to kill.
I agree that's not a good theory. Like, you would be upset if that was the case. And I would too. Yeah.
Because I'm already upset that Reese is the killer. Now to say, "Oh, Reese doesn't even exist," that's a shitty. That's a shitty plot line.
Well,
Not gonna lie, I don't have interest in making theories until I just watch it, bro. I really don't want to play the guess who of it because it kind of just like I would rather just find out that I'm not the type of person that like if I see something and then like I called it before, like I get satisfaction
yeah.
from that or anything. Like I'd rather just, you know what I mean? Like I'd rather just fucking watch it. I'm not gonna sit here and be
Yeah, that's
like,
fair.
if I see it, I'm gonna be like, "Ha, I knew it. My theory was right."
Okay. Well, what else was in that? Honestly, I just focused on love at the very end. It was just
I
mostly a
don't know.
bunch
I
of.
kind of forgot everything because I saw love.
No, you have to.
Yeah,
That's
I
pretty
know.
big news. So
I don't even know. It was just a bunch
But
of
you
other
don't.
random killing, and Reese and Joe were working together.
But you don't need the trailer because you just have to look at the literature Joe's assigning. It's it's Chekhov's gun. That literature is gonna help you solve what's gonna happen at the end. So
Huh?
I'm not sure what was confusing about that sentence.
Everything.
Okay. Chekhov's gun is a literary device where Chekhov said, if there's a gun in the first act, that gun must be fired by the third act. So basically, you can't just set up something with no payoff at the end. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Number 2, Joe was assigning literature to his class at the beginning of the season, and that's really the only time we see him assign literature. So I'm assuming that literature is going to be playing a role since this U is a book originally. So I'm sure they're going to have that book
Was?
element. Yes, it's a book by Caroline Kemps.
Wow. Wonder if it's actually good.
I'm sure it's good. It is, the show, and the show.
Well,
Was good.
I mean, sometimes shows deviate completely from what the book is told.
Yeah, but like most of the time, it's the book that's better, not the show.
Well, I
Not
can't
all the
imagine
time.
that the book is better than this.
Folks doesn't know how to read.
Okay. So, and then at the beginning of the show, beginning of the season, Joe's class was talking about a book, and they were saying, "Oh no, the person is not obsessed; they're romantic, and it's all about his romance, not his obsession." And they were clearly talking about Joe, or at least that's what I thought. And then at the end of the class, Joe said, "Read A Telltale Heart" by Edgar Allan Poe, which I just gave the plot summary for.
So that's
Now,
your prediction.
yeah, now that I know Love is coming back for the second part of the season, I think Love is actually alive. When they were talking about no, it's not obsession, it's romance, they were talking about Love, not Joe. And now when they were talking about A Telltale Heart, she's the character she's the person that was underneath the floorboards. The person Joe wait a second.
What?
I now know where the comment section is coming from about why they think Joe is crazy. Because in the book, in Edgar Allan Poe's A Telltale Heart, the main character, the narrator, he's fucking insane. He's crazy. He thinks a dead body is still alive and looking at him.
Okay.
So
What are you saying?
So if we say that the first character that they were talking about in that class is Joe, and A Telltale Heart is gonna play a role in the show, then Joe has a dead body that he thinks is still alive, but is actually dead. Maybe Marianne's coming back.
Yes.
This is
Well,
the
he didn't
precise
kill
reason
Marianne,
why
so
no fucking.
No, Marianne's that relationship between Marianne and himself. Right,
You're-
no, still alive, but is actually dead. Still alive, but is actually dead. Still alive, but is actually
yeah, most.
dead.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, if I'm honest.
Still alive, but is actually dead. What is still alive in the show? What Joe thinks is alive.
Reese.
Love is back and Ellie is dead.
You're just yapping. Bro. You're literally just yapping. You're just fucking. You're having a fucking monologue to yourself because you just keep fucking saying one thing and then saying some other bullshit after it, bro.
Okay, here's my theory. A telltale heart is gonna play a role in the second part of the season. That's my theory.
Wow, it took you fucking 30 minutes
Nice.
to get that. Idiot.
All right.
I have no idea how it's gonna play. I'm gonna think about it though. I'll think about it and I'll try and tie it back in when we do season 4 part 2. Be on the lookout for that. In the meantime, have a great day. Bye. Do you guys have anything to say?
I am Joe.
Great. Bye.
Bye.